I'm like, damn, now I'm fighting for my life. So internally, I might not have fully recognized it then, but it hit me different. Like, damn, you know? Like, so you kind of felt like you was abandoned and forgotten, you know? So you kind of grow up with a chip on your shoulder. I didn't really, like, understand the magnitude at that time of, you know, the value of money like that. You know, I get two different, you know, dichotomies to what money's like. I had to change my beliefs. So beliefs work as a self-fulfilling prophecy. So once I started to change my beliefs, I started attracting different things. You know, having your money make money for you, like a dollar's like a slave. You know, when you make it work for you, it could bring you back more slaves. Or anything could be conquered, right? You just got to look at it a different way.
What's up, you guys? We're back with another Seamless Money Secret episode. Today we have something. This is a special episode for sure because this individual I have not seen in 25 years, literally to the day. Like, today is the first time in 25 years I've seen this man.
So you did the math on it?
I had to because I was thinking I was tripping. Like, who was fourth and fifth? What, fifth grade?
Yeah,
fifth grade, yo.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And how we found each other. God always had it planned so amazingly. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce this young man. And he's going to introduce himself. But his name is Antwan Carter. And yeah, let him introduce himself. Take it home.
So, my name is Antwan Carter. I've been home for about, we in March, so I've been home for 14 months. You know, 2 days ago, right? Today's the 19th, so that'll make 14 months exactly. I got out January 17, 2023. So we in March 19, 2024, so that makes it 14 months. What else you want to know?
Nothing really. So we just gonna get it started because, you know what I mean, you got some things you gotta catch up on. You know, we caught up already a little bit.
Definitely.
And your story is really outstanding to me, I think. It just because I know the young you, I know the little you, knucklehead you, but it wasn't to me really being a knucklehead. I think you just being witty as a kid. I think we was all super witty in fourth and fifth grade. We was real smart asses.
Definitely.
Like, as a collective, too.
Yeah, just, you know, everybody got different growing pains. They got to go through certain things. They got to process certain, you know, traumas to get to where they need to get to kind of realize their potential and their purpose, you know?
Absolutely. That's the art of life, right?
Definitely.
Just growing up, trying to figure it out.
Definitely.
While figuring it out. And, so let's go back that far because I know we was both going through our own things, right? And I shared with you fourth and fifth grade was the longest I stayed in one school.
Yep.
At that time, I think I was at my sixth school by the time I hit fourth grade. So we're going through all these things as children, and we're kind of like, we pretty much act out however we felt fit in that moment. So can you recall back then, like, what was was money spoken about in the household? Like, how was money portrayed to you that you can remember as a child in the household?
I don't know, because I got like two different perspectives on it. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I grew up with my great grandmother. So, you know, she was like getting government assistance because she was taking care of kids that wasn't her kids. You know, she was older. She was a senior. She was taking care of me, my brother, and three of my cousins. And so she was getting paid for that. So, you know, on that side, like, you know, it was like money was always there, like, you know, even though you get it like once a month or whatever. So we had things we needed. We wasn't poor, but we wasn't well off. We was, you know, making a buy. Then, you know, I had my aunts and uncles, and they was in the streets. You know, my aunt, you know, she was, you know, dating a dude that was actually like a big time drug dealer, and I used to see him come around. This is like probably like 91, 92, coming around with a Lexus, you know, but at that time, that was like a Benz. Like, that was a foreign. He had an all-white Benz, you know, she had a big, like, it wasn't, like, it was kind of like a flat screen, but it was like a big, I used to play my Sega on there. It was like, I used to always go to our house, like, for the weekend. It was like an 80-inch screen. It was, like, real big. It was, like, and it was tall. It was almost like 3 feet tall, so I used to play that. And then my mom, she was selling drugs. She was in the streets hustling. and my father was a hustler. So, I get two different, dichotomies to what money's like, getting it the fast way. And then you got the way where, government assistance. Then I had a few, like family members that worked, like, school teachers and different things like that. So I'm getting these three different perspectives. And, at that time, like as a kid, you don't really like value money like that because it's given to you. You don't really have to work for it. Like I didn't have like, a father figure growing up or, a maternal figure like my mom, my actual mom. I had my grandma. She was like my mother, but she more so kind of babied us in a sense, because, life's hard and just love, right? And so I didn't really like understand the magnitude at that time of, the value of money like that because it was like I could either go to my aunts, I could go to my mother, my grandmother, and I want this, and nobody told me, oh, you got to work for this shit. If you want these niggas, or you're going to have to do this and that, they're going to have these chores or whatever. So I kind of had like in my mind, like even though it wasn't formulated at that time, like, money was kind of just given, for me.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
That's me just kind of reflecting on it now at this standpoint. But at that time, like, I wasn't really like, fully cognizant of money like that, like, vaguely, but it was just like, money's there, it's going to be there. Like, I may not be able to get all the nicest things, but I can get certain things.
Right.
know?
Right.
So.
You said that you was bad in school. What do you feel like it was because of you saying, like you said, your father, you didn't really have a father figure? Do you think it be like stemmed from that and it kind of like led you down the wrong path?
Not just not having a father figure, like coming from a dysfunctional home. I didn't have to go to the streets to see the streets. It was there. I had cousins that was in the streets gangbanging. You get what I'm saying? I had aunts and uncles just getting high. Like everything that was out in the streets was in my household. I got to see it. I got to see the dysfunction, the alcoholism, everything, right? Seeing my peoples getting fights, with other family members and just hear the conversation. So, it was just already kind of instilled in me. And me just like, going to school and, playing sports and like, and not having that family support there like that. So it was like, damn, like everybody else, like, Deshaun, he had his father at every game. His mom, we used to play baseball and shit. His pops and them, they used to be at the game. I didn't have that, So it's just like internally, I might not have, fully recognized it then, but, hit me different. Like, damn, Like, so you kind of felt like you was abandoned and forgotten, So you kind of grow up with a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
So I was kind of angry. So, being angry, you do things,
That
out
makes
of
sense.
anger. So.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, you led us down that path, right? We won't stick around that trauma too long. But then you grew up and life started happening differently, right? With all that, the chip on your shoulder and just things, right? Because you look at just respect in a particular way. You look at how people should approach you in a particular way. And then you kind of like, when people cross that line, it's like you don't know what you're gonna do in that moment. So
Definitely.
You end up in a situation where you're incarcerated. Can you walk us down like how that became to be for you, and then we'll talk about like the inside when it.
So for me,
money.
like at that time, like it started from being young, like elementary school, getting in fights and always in trouble. I got in so many fights in school. Then I went to middle school, getting in trouble. Did I get in any fights in middle school? I didn't even think I got in no fights like that. I think people was just kind of intimidated by me a little bit, And, but I got in trouble. I was like, I started like, I think it was like 7th grade because I got kept back. I was supposed to be in the 8th grade, but I missed school because of attendance. And, so I missed it. Then, I had to do summer school. I'm like, I'm not doing summer school in the summer, So I ended up having to do the 6th grade over. And after 6th grade, I goes into 7th grade. And then I think that was like at my time, like starting to like really get introduced to the streets. And after that, I started like going into the streets. My friend that I grew up with, he taught me how to like, sell weed. I got a 50 bag of weed. I started, and that was just like my introduction to like really being in the streets, even though I already seen it. And I ended up getting caught too. I had like 14 bags of weed. I had all bagged up, and I didn't even leave it home because I'm living with my grandma, my cousins, and stuff. And they all in my business. You smell like weed. My hands smell like I'm bagging it up. And when I'm like 12 at the time, I think I was like 12, 13, and I had all that shit in my sock, the whole everything, my whole thing, the whole get up on me. Then I had like the shape, so we rolled it up, and we go to the park to smoke. And as soon as I go to light that joint, The motherfucking Northeastern police pull up. I'm like, oh, I got the shit up. Right? And they looking. I throw that shit, like, I just throw it as hard as I could, and I throw it. And the shit goes, like, through the gate, and it's like a gate with, like, dirt and stuff like that, because we sitting on the benches at the park in Carter's Park. And then, like, you know, they get out the car, they start looking, they call Boston police, so they come over looking for the for what I threw. You know, what you throw? I'm like, I ain't throw nothing. And they looking for it, boom, boom. They can't find this shit, though. They looking, like, they can't find it. They're like, any of y'all got drugs on you? And then the police arrive. They're like, any of y'all got drugs on you? And then, like, if you do, let us know. If you got, like, a bag of weed or two, just let us know. We'll dump it in the sewer. We don't really care about that. My dumb ass, right? Like, falling for that shit. I'm like, yeah, I got a few bags on me. And they're like, oh, yeah? Because when they searched, I had on basketball shorts. They wasn't even going to find it. I basically told on myself. Because I'm thinking they might find it. I'm like, yo, they searched me. But I had this shit in my, you know, where the tongue of your sneakers at. I unlace your shoe, put it all the way deep in it, and tie the shoe tight. So it's, like, in my sock, but, like down here. And they're like, yeah, well, give it to us. Where's it at? So I go untie my shit, give it to them. It's fucking 13 bags of weed. They're like, man, you said a few, man. You going to jail. So I had to call my mothers. And, you know, I went to jail. Then they come to pick me up. That was my first case or whatever. I already had the chins on me or whatever. And then that was just like the start. Then I just started getting into different things. I had a little unarmed robbery. I went to jail for that. I ended up getting bailed out. My mother was going to leave me in there. I didn't even do it. Me and my friend didn't even do it. The police ended up planting it on us. But we really didn't even do it. And we beat it. I was out on bail, but that had extended my probation because I was supposed to get off. I had a year probation for the weed thing. And I was about to, I had like a month left. And then I was about to be off probation. And I caught that case. And so my probation got extended. Even though I ended up beating the case, they ended up extending because I caught a new case. So I had like a whole nother year to do on probation. And then I ended up catching an armed robbery charge. And I ended up going to jail. And then I ended up getting let out after like being in there for like probably like 2 months. They let me out, but they let me out on a bracelet. So I was on home confinement. I could only go out until a certain time, but I had to do this program called the JRC. So I'm doing that program. And it's funny because me and the dude Brandon Bannister, we went to school together. Okay, he was there with me or whatever. And I'm like, oh, what up, man? We used to go to school together. So we used to hang out. We smoking and shit. And we got a color code. We got a piss in a cup. So if your color's black or red, that color always come up like 2 to 3 times a week. And so we used to drink a lot of water to beat the piss test. And then one day, I call in the morning. I know it's going to be our color code. I'm like, damn. So I already, was smoking. And so I'm drinking. I drank down there like a gallon of water. And, when you take your first piss, that's all the bad with the drugs is in it. So I didn't piss yet. And so when I get to the program that we're going to, I'm like, damn, I got to piss. I drank so much water. I'm like, fuck. And so I'm telling the dude, like, I got to use the bathroom. He's like, yeah, you can't use the bathroom unless you already took your drug test. I'm like, I'm trying to take the drug test now. Or whatever. So I take the drug test. I piss. I fail. I didn't know. Did I fail at that time? I don't even know if I failed at that time because they give you the results right there. I don't even remember what happened. I think I might have failed. And I don't remember. But so after that, I goes back to the class. We in like to do Mr. Maloney's class. I think it was a math class. And I got to piss again. And I'm telling the dude, it's a black dude. His name, I forget his name. Bald head. He act like he's cool, like he's from the hood. I'm like, yo, I got to use the bathroom again, bro. And he's like, yo, man, did you take your drug test? I'm like, yo, you can see me go take my drug. And I got to piss. He's like, oh, you got to wait till break. I'm like, bro, I got to go. When you drink so much, you got to piss. So I get up. I'm literally holding my dick, man. Like, yo, listen, I got to pee, bro. In my pocket, like, yo, I'm about to piss on myself, man. And then we got to do community service. I'm like, man, I'm not going outside to be pissed on me. Like, I'm like, I got to use the bathroom. So then I tell one of the dudes, I'm like, yo, get me a cup, man. I got to piss, man. I asked the teacher, and then I'm about to go in the back room to go in there to use the bathroom. He got me a cup, like, yo, here, bro. And the teacher seen it to do Mr. He goes, locks the bathroom where they got the computer, the room with the computer. I'm like, oh, this dude's a clown. And I'm like, damn, I got to piss, right? So he ended up leaving. The teacher ended up leaving for something, and then the staff, black dude, he left out real quick to go see. But man, I pulled out got in the corner of the classroom and pissed in the cup, bro. You heard? And then the black dude came like, yo, you can use the bathroom. I'm like, yo, I'm good, man. I don't need to use the bathroom. He's like, what? He's like, let me see that cup. I see the cup for what? He's like, let me see it. I'm like, look, nigga. He's like, oh, you pissed in the cup, but you can't really tell. You can see like the foam, but it's clear. And he's like, oh man. So he ends up reporting it. And I ended up getting a job. I'm like, damn, I'm about to go to jail, you heard? And so like, and then my probation officer ended up coming to my house that night to see me. Like, never in my career have I ever seen somebody do something like that. Like, you know, you could get charged and all this other stuff. I'm like, man, I had to use the bathroom. Man, I'm not gonna pee on myself and have to do community service or whatever. So it's like, yo, you going to court tomorrow. We're doing like a surrender, man. You got to come in tomorrow. So rest in peace, my grandmother. She ended up coming with me to court. And my lawyer that I had for the armed robbery cases, I'm out on a bracelet. They're like, you do one thing, you're going to get committed to DYS. And I'm like, fuck. And so the way he's talking, man, he's like, man, you going to jail today. The way it looking like, he's like, you're going to have to go to jail at least for, I don't know how long, and then we figure it out, but you're probably going to get locked up today. So I'm there with my grandmother, we chilling, and then I just got up and left. I'm like, I'm out of here, man. I left my grandmother.
You was always a rebel.
Yeah, I left. So I ended up leaving. I'm like, I left her. I didn't even tell her I was there. I'm going to use the bathroom. I left. I'm like, I'm not going to jail today.
You just left her? You left her there?
Yeah, I left, bro. She realized I was going. That's how I was going. And I went on a run. I ended up staying at my aunt's house and shit. I'm staying there. So I'm on a run for probably not even that long. Probably for like a week, 2 weeks, if that. And then my PO, he had called my phone. He was like, yo, listen, man, you want to turn yourself in. That same day, he called me like, you know, you have a default. Any other time you ever get locked up in the future, they'll hold you. You won't get bail and stuff like that. It's best if you turn yourself in over the weekend after or whatever. And then Monday, whatever, you go to court, whatever. So I'm like, man, I ain't doing that. So I didn't do that. But I'm like, man, I can't run long term. Right. Living like this, living my aunt. Like eventually I'm going to have to, you know, go face this head on. So I ended up get locked up. If I face it, I get locked up. I goes to DYS. I'm in Hillside. I'm there, and then I'm there for like a month or some change. And you know, I think at DY you go to court every month. I think it's either every month or even like every 2 weeks or whatever. So I'm going to court or whatever. Then he calls the staff guy in and everything like that, my attorney, and he chewed him up. He's like, he's like, yo, if nature calls, you got to, because they try to hit me with opening like lewdness, like in public. Nobody's seen what I was doing, but the dudes, but I have my back. I'm like, I got to piss. I'm not going to piss on myself. So the lawyer goes in on the dude, like, yo, how you don't let him use the bathroom? And nature calls, you got to use the bathroom. Dude start crying on the stand and everything. The judge, she was a female. She's like, I'm not charging this kid with that, man. I'm throwing that shit out. And everything, all of that, you should have let him use the bathroom. That shit's unprofessional. If he had to use the bathroom, you got to let him use the bathroom. You can't not let him use the bathroom. And he already took his drug test. Like, so why you get? So she's like, so she threw that out or whatever. You know, she scolding the guy. He's on the stand crying, big fat black dude, look like Mark Henry, and he's crying. And but she's like, yo, you ran and you cut your bracelet. If you didn't do that, I would have let you go home. And it was the day before Thanksgiving. But she's like, being that you did that, I'm gonna commit you to DYS to 18, and you're going to DYS. So I had to go. I was sick, man. I had letters for the staff and everything. I was doing good. I had a little job. I was crushed. I'm like, damn, I gotta go. And I had to open armed robbery case, so I can't even do my time until that case is done with. And I'm like, so at that time when you're doing time, all of that's dead time. So I could have beat the case, but I didn't have no trial date set yet. So I'm like, I could be sitting waiting a year, and then I go to trial, and if I don't beat the case, then I'm gonna have to do 8 months anyway. So the dude's like, yo, if you get cop out to it, we'll commit you, and we'll give you a month credit, and you only have to do 7 months. I already been locked up 6 months, I believe, going on like 6 months. I'm like, yeah, man, I gotta. So I end up copping out. Even though I could beat the case, and then the dude that I did the armed robbery with, that I gotta but he was telling, he was older than me, and I'm like, he's saying that I masterminded it, and he's older than me. I'm fucking 15 at the time, and he's older. I'm like 15, 16, and he's 19. Like, I'm telling you what to do, let's get serious. Yeah. Or whatever. So he ended up telling on me, because he go to adult jail, I go to juvenile or whatever, and I don't want to run the risk going to trial, and if he show up, and then, you know, I lose. Yeah. Or so I copped out, I ended up doing a year, I got out, boom. Then after that, I'm running the streets, and I end up getting caught with a gun. I go back to jail. I was out for like 8 months, I got caught with a gun in the house. I went back for 6 months, got out on parole, and then I got locked up again. And that time I got locked up for I violated my probation or whatever, and the parole and everything like that. So I'm about to just go wrap everything up. So I had to go upstate, because when I copped out to the armed robbery, I had a year and a day to do with a youthful offender. I was committed to 21, but I had 1 in a day youthful offender sentence. Mm-hmm. So if I violated, I could go upstate to Walpole for a year. So I ended up violating. Even when I caught the gun case, they was trying to send me my PO and all that. But the judge, I had the black dude, Judge Harris. He's like, oh, this dude is only 17 years old. I'm not sending him to a state prison. He don't even got his GED. To send him up here because he violated. I'm sending him to South Bay. and then you're gonna reinstate his probation. They was trying to send me. I'm like, this dude was with me. Like, God was with me. He wasn't tell. He's like, I'm not sending this kid upstate. This dude was a kid, and I violated. I was supposed to go. I violated.
Okay, so a little interruption because today's episode is sponsored by yours truly, Financial Therapy LLC. We are truly a unique financial firm, helping you pack your pockets whilst understanding your relationship to money. If you want to understand this ever-going relationship, we are here to help guide that exploration. Go to www.financialtherapyllc.com for more info. Now back to our regularly scheduled program.
And so I violated, and but you know, so I ended up doing that. I got out on parole, and then I ended up violating because I had parole. I was committed to DYS at 21. I was on a bracelet. I had to be in the house at 8 o'clock. I had the drug test, OCC, so I had the color code thing again, and I'm smoking. And I'm like, man, it's only a matter of time if I go to jail. I had so many different agencies I had to report. Then I had to do NAAA meetings 3 times a week. And so they're like, yo, man, we got to, like, even the caseworker I had at DYS, he's like, we got to drop your commitment because you're going to end up going to jail. So they end up getting me a lawyer. They're like, you got too many agencies to report. You don't even have your own personal life. It's just too much for you to do. And so I had a lawyer, and she was trying to fight to get it, like, thrown out. But I ended up violated. My mom's ended up calling my DYS tracker like, oh, he's bagging up drugs in the house, and I was smoking weed. And she I had like weed, bagging up weed or something, and she called or whatever. They ended up putting in one, so I ended up leaving, going with my grandmother to stay with her. But I had the bracelet, so I had to tell my parole officer, my adult parole officer, that I'm changing my address because it was to my mother's house, and I didn't tell him. So they put out a warrant, but I was going to tell him that Friday, and so that happened like on like a Wednesday. And then I was gonna go see him that Friday, and the day I was gonna go see him, and I'm out on it's crazy because I was out on the bracelet, and I'm driving around with my peoples. It's like 12 at night, and I'm supposed to be in the crib at 8 o'clock, and I had the bracelet on. The detectives pull us over there on Blue Hill Ave near Castlegate, and they're like, "Oh, what y'all doing out?" Boom, boom. I had weed rolled up. I had it like haze at that time, crushed up in a $20 bill, and I'm like, oh, the police come. He's like, yo, just put that shit in your pocket. I'm like, man, fuck that, I ain't going to. So I dumped the weed out, but kept the $20 bill, like dumped it out the window. Hope so. Yeah, so they stopped us or whatever. They searched me. They realized I'm on a bracelet. I had a permit, and that time my permit was suspended because I had got caught with a gun and drugs. So it was suspended for 2 years. They're like, yo, we could lock you up for having that permit. You can't have. I'm just using it for identification. They're like, yeah, you can't have it. So he takes it. I'm on a bracelet. They don't even lock me up. I think I already had the one. They didn't even for some reason I didn't get locked up. That was like in the morning, like on Friday or whatever. And so we ended up turning around because we was going to Rosendale. We was going to his girl's house. We ended up going to Castlegate to one of his girl's house. I stayed the night there. Then we woke up in the morning. Once we go to leave around like 1 o'clock, he pulls off at Castlegate to go on Blue Hill real fast. It was April 3rd, and it was a nice day that day. It was like a summer day. Pulls up and the police is on bikes. It's like 8 of them. They like, stop this car, man. You going 40 on the side street to get to him. And then when they pulled us, I told them my name. They're like, hold on, you got a warrant. Lock me up. So I goes to DY, and I'm like, I'm about to just take all my time so I could come home free, clean slate. So I took that. I had a year to do. I already had like 2 months in, and at that time. So when I went to go do it, I ended up getting charged with murder while I was sitting in prison. Like I was about to go home. Like 6 months later, they ended up charging me like a secret indictment, and then that's when I really sat.
Dang. So
it was just like a roller coaster ride. I like my little running with the law.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah,
what I received from a lot of it was the things that you were trying to avoid because you had it already thought out that it was going to be one way, but then ended up not even being as bad if you would have just did it the other way.
What you mean?
Like, well, actually it worked out in your favor. The peeing in the cup in the corner, like
I had to pee in the cup. What you
right? No, I feel
and emasculate myself, and then dudes be making jokes, and then I got piss on me, and I gotta go home.
But it worked out for you, though. It worked out for you in that way because you did it the logical way. Nature called the judge even said it, like he had to go pee. Yeah. Like it wasn't even that deep for you to tell him not that he couldn't go pee. Like you're just trying to be in power. You're using your power for bad. Like it was something like that. But it was like the other things like, nah, I'm not going over there. I'm not doing this. But then everything still, I always tell people you're always right where you're supposed to be. However that choice is, like when you are a spiritual person, because I know you're a spiritual person. So when you're a spiritual person, he got you all day. Like you can make that choice. He knows your heart. He got you.
Definitely.
and it's not illogical, right? To society, certain things might be illogical, but it's not up for us to make sense of it because it worked. And so now you're sitting in doing your time.
I didn't even get sentenced yet. I was fighting the case. I'm fighting it.
Okay.
So I just got arraigned. I got charged. Like I had 6 months. I go home. Your homicide came to see me. Like, oh yeah, your name's coming up. You got anything you want to tell us? I'm like, nah. What's up? Why y'all here? Basically, you know, and they telling us why you're like, oh, your name's coming up. You got some involvement with this case, or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. They're like, all right, well, we'll be back. And at that time, I was in a hole. I was waiting. I've been in a hole for like 90 days. Longest I ever been in a hole at the time. I'm 18. I think I'm 18 at the time. Yeah, I'm 18. Matter of fact, I turned 19. Yeah, I was turning 19. They came to see me in September, so next month I was turning 19. They're like, oh, we'll be back. I'm like, whatever. The motherfuckers ended up coming back. After my birthday, they came back. They're like, yo, the CO. I'm like, I'm so tired of being in the cage. I've been in the hole so long. I'm starting to lose my mind. I'm like, damn, what's up? My ticket's over. Y'all gonna let me back on the population? And at that time, I was in a hole. I didn't even know I was in an investigation for murder before all that, before they came to see me, because I was sending letters out, nobody writing me, my people sending me shit. I'm not getting it until months later, like 3 months later. I'm like, what the fuck? These people fuck on my mail. And then I was on phone restriction, but they never turned my phone off. And I told my man, I'm like, yo, bro, my phone's off. It's supposed to be off, but it's not off. I'm not even gonna say nothing or whatever. He's like, yeah, just be easy or whatever. And but they listening to my phone calls. I didn't know that at that time. I'm like, so they letting me stay on the phone. And I'm on the phone talking stupid and shit, not even realizing, like, you know, they try to build a case against me or whatever. Yeah. So they end up coming back and then end up charging me. And then that was just like the journey for me to start fighting my case. And then I ended up going to Walpole. I was 19, I ended up going to Walpole. I got arraigned, and then I didn't go back to Shirley Meeting. When I was in Shirley Meeting, I was in a hole. And then I went to Walpole. After court, I thought I was going back to Shirley Meeting. Like, nah, you're going to Walpole. The transport kitty. I'm like, what? Like, what about my property? Like, oh, that should have followed you to go there or whatever. So I'm going to Walpole, and at that time, Walpole was Walpole. It was serious, like,
yeah.
And I was introduced to Walpole. It was a riot. It was a Latin Kings versus the Gangster Disciples. And then when they seen me, I go in there. I ain't got no facial hair, nothing. I still got the braids. They looking at me like, are you all right? Like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 19. They're like, you're a fucking baby. What are you doing up here? And then you just got charged with murder. How you feeling mentally? I'm like, man, I don't know. The shit didn't even really sink, and I can't even sleep. X, Y, and Z. They're like, well, you know, we're going to put you in the infirmary on mental health watch or whatever. I'm like, am I going to be naked? I need my clothes. Like, we're going to let you keep your clothes, but you can't have your sneakers or nothing with shoelaces or whatever. But we'll let you keep, like, your underwears and stuff like that. And, but we're going to put you in there. So I'm in there. And then I end up talking to somebody, and they end up knowing my peoples. Dude Rock. And I'm like, what up? I told him who I was, where I was from. He's from Boston. He's like, oh, your peoples is over here, whatever. And that's how I met him. And he was just like, put me on what everything was going on. And then after like a day or two, they let me out. I went to orientation, you know. But that was just like the beginning of, you know, like, damn, like me being around dudes. And I was already around people that was doing life, that been locked up longer than I've been alive. I'm like, damn, now I'm fighting for my life. So it was just like a different thing. Now I wasn't going home in 6 months.
Right.
Now I was going to have to fight for my life.
Different. Yeah, it definitely hit different. So while you're on the inside, are you learning about money differently? Or what was
Not at that time. No, because I'm fighting for my life. I'm gladiator school and working out. I'm like 130 pounds. I'm skinny as shit. So I gotta get my weight up. I'm a kid. Niggas try to take advantage of me. All of that. So but it was more so like, you know, I ended up gravitating towards older people. They're like, oh, you gotta work on your case. And then it was a legal beagle dude, M1 murder. So there was murder. Then they had M1, and it was just kind of teach me about the law. Like, oh, this is what you do when you write to the lawyer. You know, always keep a copy of it. Tell them you want to know everything. You want all the discoveries. The bill of attendance. They was just putting me on game. So the lawyer I had at the time, I had a lady, Edna James, Elder James. That was her name. And I think she was Haitian too. And she was trying to trick me, like, you know, to keep her. And I didn't like her because when we went and got arraigned, she was all stuttering and shit. And I'm like, my co-defendant's lawyer, he was talking like he was confident. Like, I'm like, I need that. Like, what the fuck is this bitch? Like, I need that. And And so I'm like, so I told her, like, yo, after the arraignment, after I got indicted, like, I'm about to get another lawyer. So I was trying to get Rosemary. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she wanted like $50,000. So I'm like, at that time, I got a couple dollars. So I'm like, I probably, you know, will have to. So I reached out to her. She's like, yeah, she wrote me. I'm probably going to get her. Mm-hmm. And, but as fate would have it, I didn't get her. But the lawyer, she was like, yo, you're stupid. Your co-defendant's telling on you. She tried to get another lawyer, dude, Willie Davis, to convince me, like, to keep her. She's a good lawyer. And then I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. Boom. But I'm already like, I'm about to get Rosemary. And so I'm talking to Murder and all these dudes. They're like, yo, write her, tell her you need a copy of this, and that. You want her to file this motion? Oh, they typing it up for me. I'm sending it to her. She ended up withdrawing from the case. You heard? I showed them the letter. Yo, look. They like, oh, yeah? And she like, yeah, she was trying to sell you out. And so I ended up getting this lawyer, Barry Wilson. He was cool, and he was fighting for me. Whatever. White dude. I thought he was black because of the name, Barry Wilson. But he was a good dude, and he was fighting for me.
That's dope.
But I didn't really, you know, at that time, I was young. I was immature. I'm still, like, finding myself, you know. I'm on gangbanging time. I'm still trying to figure shit out, but I'm fighting for my life. But I'm around older people that have been locked up, so they're instilling in me certain things, like, you know, the importance of black history and just, like, reading and just educating yourself. And at that time, I was reading. I started picking up different books, but I didn't really get into finance at that time. You know, I was like, man, I'm fighting for my freedom. I might die here, you know. So it was just, like, reading about, like, you know, self-help and self-empowerment. And
is there any book that stood out to you along the journey that you could, like,
at that time, at that particular time, or later on?
Just in overall, like,
overall,
as you're out and you reflect.
Oh
back
yeah,
on that.
there's a few books, man. So Think and Grow Rich was like my book, man. That was like the Holy Grail. That was the book that kind of parted the Red Sea in my mind and kind of just had me thinking different. Like, you know, it was just the law of attraction. You think what you think you attract. A man becomes what he allows to dominate his mind. So whatever your dominating thoughts is what you attract. And so as I began to reflect on my life, I realized, like, the things that I was attracting was destruction. It was my beliefs. So I had to change my beliefs. So beliefs work as a self-fulfilling prophecy. So once I started to change my beliefs, I started attracting different things. And so that was it, right? And then he just talked about the premise of money. Money comes from thoughts. Thoughts is intangible, right? So when you think thoughts, you can draw in ideas, right? You start to get into the infinite intelligence, what exists within the universe. You start to draw it to you. And he just started giving different stories. How you don't really need money to make money. It's just a false notion that you need money to make money. You can make money off of ideas, or you could take somebody else's ideas and, you know,
put it together
and create. And make money. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is ill. So I started, like, keep reading. It was a reference books. I started to internalize it. Then that kind of lead me into different books. And then thinking Rich Dad, Poor Dad, just reading the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And just started, books just started finding me. And I just started like, oh, all right, the power of financial literacy, and just learning about the value of money. And, you know, having your money make money for you. Like, a dollar's like a slave. You know, when you make it work for you, it can bring you back more slaves, more recruiters. So it's like, okay. So just learning about the value of money and what you do with it. Everybody gets money. Even bums get money. Those that sit on the corner begging for change. Money coming in hand. Money is indiscriminate, but it's what you do with it that accumulates wealth. So wealth is a mind state before it is actual, you know, physical thing. So it's just changing your mind mentally.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
So
You just said something really powerful, because this is what I tell so many people all the time when I'm talking at conferences or whatever the case may be. I'm just like, it's not always about instantly thinking that you have to spend money in order to be better or have a whole lot of it. It's really about money placement. And I think that's where a lot of this financial, I hate the term financial literacy. I don't know if I said this to you guys before, but I literally hate that term, because will we actually ever be fully literate when it comes to finances? No. Why? It's too vast. There's too many avenues and too many ways that money can be flipped, dipped, and manipulated in so many ways, whether good or bad. And so I always tell people, financial education is what you want to fight for, as opposed to just being literate.
Yeah, it's a journey, though. Like, learning about finance is a journey. It's a process. Like, they only going to give you a little bit. So all those books I mentioned to you, like I said, everlasting journey. You got to go to seminars. You got to have mentors, because a lot of things you got to be learned through experience. You got to fail, right? The best way to learn is through mistakes. We learn. We're hardwired to learn through mistakes. It says repetition is the father of learning. So in order to learn how to walk as a baby, you had to fall multiple times. In order to learn how to speak, you had to stumble and fumble over your words multiple times before you was able to form your first word. So we learned through mistakes. So certain things just take time. You have to go through certain things. You have to learn through experience, right? In order to kind of short circuit that process of, you know, having to have experience be the best teacher is mentors. So it could put you like years ahead of people, right? Because they know where you're at mentally, and they can gauge where you're at, and then they can focus your attention where it needs to be focused, rather than you just going on your own journey and trying to travel a road that's already been traveled. Hey, I already been down this road. Let me show you how to get there even faster.
Yeah,
So
but you have to find the right mentor, though, because everybody's not a good mentor. Just know that. And just because somebody won't call themselves a mentor, you have to know if it's going to be befitting to your values, your morals, all the things that make you you. Because there's some shady, shiesty people out there that will just try to take a title and then hold on to it because they're older than you. But that's not necessarily always true either. So just be mindful about that.
But mentors is essential, though. You need mentors.
You definitely need one.
In order to be an intelligent leader, you got to be an intelligent follower. You got to know who to follow.
Yes, you have to know who to follow. There you go. That's the key. Know who to follow. Don't just follow anybody just because. Because I see that happen a lot. Even in this field, I see people trying to, like, oh, just do what I tell you. And it's, no, you need a brainless B word. And that's not going to be me. Because the way you moving and I'm watching how you moving and your energy ain't right, I'm not doing it. Definitely. And don't call yourself my mentor. I choose who I say mentors me. Absolutely. At that point. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Finance wasn't like necessarily the thing that you had to be worried about, because your circumstances was the thing that was at the forefront of everything. So then let's fast forward where now you find out that you're getting out. How are you feeling and thinking? Because now the world's about to be different, right? You went in as a baby, and then you're coming out as a grown up, right? According to society's laws, based off your age. But there's a lot of life that you wasn't able to experience, live, understand, navigate through. Then on top of the art of freaking social media, flat screen phones, like everything was just different. And so
but I was kind of prepared for it in a sense, though, like with the technology, though. We had tablets, so, and I'm a fast learner, so you see certain things, and I had different opportunities when I was in jail to kind of keep me like kind of relevant. It wasn't like I always kept my mind outside of prison. That's how I was able to survive in there, rather than just focus on what was going on in there. So but I was preparing myself, because I knew eventually, me having faith in God, that door was going to open. And so it's like I got to prepare myself and be ready when I do get out to have a fighting chance. So I'm like, in order for me to be successful, like at that time, I lost several family members. Like my legal guardian, she died. 5 of my family members died. Both of my grandmothers died. My mom, she living in the city. She like, nigga, when you get out, you ain't living with me, so you're going to have to figure it out. So I'm like, damn, I'm going to have to go to a program. I got to get my own shit. And it's just blessed that it happened that way, because of teaching me accountability and realizing that I only got myself. In prison taught me that, because, we in jail, you start to see who's really there for you. So I realized I ain't really had nobody but God. God took everything away from me and showed me, like, I'm going to have to lean on you. And then he just started providing for me. So, and I was just like, all right, I'm ready. And I had money saved up. It wasn't like I was going home with nothing. I knew that time was going to come, and I had money stashed. So when I do get out, I'm going to be all right. So I was prepared.
That's good. So that's better than most.
So right. I was prepared. I was fortunate. I was blessed, and just having that insight to be able to see that further ahead. Like, I'm gonna need like a little safety net, because I only got myself. I ain't got nobody else. And then your mom's like, "Oh, you got money? You need to buy your own canteen." Then, I'm not doing that. I know I'm getting out. I'm not gonna be in here just buying every day, And so I played it a certain way.
Yeah, that's deep. I like it.
You think it's deep?
That's deep.
It's called survival.
Yeah, no, that's really dope. Are there any programs that you like to mention that aided in like you getting out and getting the help that you needed, and like getting you situated and set up and stuff that you want to like shout out?
Programs that helped me out. Like, let me see. Like, I went to this program. I really don't want to be talking too much about like certain things. You get what I'm saying? Like, but I had a social worker, man. Like, I feel like the social worker helped me. She put me in the right direction. I ended up going to a program out in Lawrence. I was there for a year. Like, it was a piece of shit program, but it was a stepping stone, for me. And God provided certain things for me, and I was blessed in that aspect. But yeah, that was really like if I had
that was it.
Yeah, really. But I already had my own game plan what I was gonna do, like with school and stuff like that. Like everything, like goals already set. So I had a compass that was giving me direction, and what steps I needed to take to get to where I needed to get to.
Yeah. So, speaking of compasses, You want to tell the people what you're doing right now because you bought something in here
so
that we about to do something.
So I do a bunch of things. Like I do motivational speaking. I speak about the power of perception and how we have to change the way we look at things, and we could change our attitude on something we may face that may seem like adversity or a challenge that may seem, unconquerable. Anything could be conquered, right? You just got to look at it a different way with a different lens. So I do that. I write books. I'm a poet, spoken word artist. I do magic too. So I kind of like to blend all of them together. And that's just like, me,
So when you're doing your magic, do you storytell as you're doing the magic? Or what is your take on it? Cause
in a sense, you can kind of storytell. You paint a picture. So I use my words to paint a picture, and I get a person to focus on it. And as they focus on it, I take them somewhere.
Okay, he's about to do some magic right now, y'all.
Oh, so I'm gonna do something for you.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Something simple.
Pray for me.
So pray for you. So we take those out. The two jokers, if you could see them. Regular cards. You don't really. Right, you see, regular, right?
Regular, schmegular.
Nothing's odd about them.
They're cute.
You got a pen too, so you said they're cute, right? So the first thing I do is I cut it. Is that a fair cut?
No.
What is it? What about now? Fair?
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah, it's
all right,
fair.
So look, grab one. Which one you want? You going this one?
Heart
all right, so look at it. Don't show it to me. You can show it to them too. All right.
Hold on, wait.
Mark it. Use your pen. It don't
wait,
even matter.
I gotta show the camera because.
Show it to them.
No, you're gonna see it. So
it don't matter. Just follow me.
All right.
Right on the card. Right. Put some. Mark the card.
Really?
Yeah.
This pen ain't wanting to mark it.
All right. So if I told you to think of a number from 1 to 10, but don't tell me the number, you got it?
Yeah.
You got it? Mm-hmm. What if I told you I put a number inside your mind?
Sure.
It's an odd number.
Yep.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
It's closer to 10?
No.
It's not? So, look, I'll make a prediction, right? I know what it is. You know what's so crazy? All right, you marked the card, right?
It's not marked.
Well, you could put a mark on it, scribble on it.
It won't mark. The pen won't let it do it. So, what do you want me to do?
Right on there.
Okay.
Now, write it to get the ink working. It's working?
Yeah.
Now, mark it again. You got it? You got something where you can see you put something on it?
Yeah.
Like a little dot? Let me see. So, you put a 5. You thought of a number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So look, it's not 5, right?
Mm-mm.
It wasn't 5? So look, I take the 5, right?
Okay.
The 5. I don't know if they can see that shit. So they can probably see it. So I take the 5. I flip it over. Hold your hand like this. Flat. I take it, put it in your hand. Put your other hand on top of it. On top, the other way.
Oh.
Like a sandwich. Hold it, but don't break it. It's like you got a bird in your hand. You thought of a number from 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
What was the number you thought of?
3.
You thought of 3? So look, the very next card is 3, right? So look, she thought of 3, right? I put the number inside her mind. I take the 3, I flick it. You feel that?
Nope.
Look, 5 is here. What's in your hand?
Yo.
3.
Get out of here.
That was the number you thought of. Show it to the camera.
Yeah. He's a magician. Oh my God. That's
so something simple.
That's creepy.
Is it creepy?
Yeah, it is.
I told you I was inside your mind.
Yeah, you've been doing that a lot lately. Stop it, okay?
Yeah.
We're gonna stop.
Yeah.
Yo, that was dope. That was weird. I've been to a magic show, but I don't think I've experienced magic like that.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Scary?
Yeah.
Supposedly.
That's scary. If you've never had magic done to you, I say come to Antwan Carter, the magician, and let him hold it down in that forefront. So, thank you for that. That was dope.
I appreciate it.
That was really dope.
Something I like to do. I was doing that in jail, just a pastime. I just felt like it was like a good tool to have, like within your toolbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an icebreaker. It's also a lesson you could teach people the power of the mind and how you look at things, and taking something that seems impossible and making it possible.
Yeah.
Right? How would somebody be able to know the number you're thinking or put a number inside your head? So it takes you on this journey to start learning about yourself, about energy, about psychology, and just how things work. And just art. It's just art.
Yeah, that's dope.
You
That's dope. Okay, so we're concluded, kinda. So I'm gonna ask what I always ask everybody. Can you share a money secret that you either learned from someone else or something that you've learned and want to teach others?
I said it earlier when I was talking about Think and Grow Rich. So just, your thoughts is money. So what you think you attract. So you don't need money to make money. So it's about what you think about, what you allow to dominate your mind, you attract. So you don't need money to make money. All you need to do is just have the right thoughts.
I love it. Yay! We did it. Yay. So, y'all, that was, I think, a dope episode. He just shocked my whole life, so I'm still trying to come down from that because that was creepy. But y'all heard it here first from Antwan Carter, the poet, the author, motivational speaker. Yeah, am I getting it right? My friend, my brother, like, I can't believe it's been 25 years. That's crazy. But we reconnected because God wanted it to be that way. We'll talk about that story on bloopers or something. And yeah, he just shared with y'all about thought processes and just things that you should be wary about in terms of how you're looking at life. He did a lot of life and he's still living life because, by God's will. So with that, we conclude Seamless Money Secrets, and probably going to catch you on the next episode if we get another one. Okay? So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll holla at you another day.